Welcome to the Quick Talk Podcast with Joshua Latimer, where we discuss business, life, family, faith, struggle, fire, pain, and ultimately winning.
It's time to take massive action. Look, I can't work harder on your life or business than you do. It's ultimately all on you.
You know, God created all the food the birds would ever need, but he doesn't put it in their nest. You've got to go get it.
10 out of 10 people die. So how about doing something today that actually matters while you still can? Hey everybody, welcome to the Quick Talk Podcast. Josh here. Hope you're having a great weekend. I am recording this podcast at 7:23 p.m. from Orlando, Florida on Saturday. This is the last day of Funnel Hacking Live, and it has been exhausting and amazing and emotional. I didn't think I'd come to an internet marketing event and cry a whole bunch of times, but these guys are good. I got to tell you, they're good. And it wasn't just that. It's just hearing the stories of entrepreneurs who are fighting the fight and trying to do things and trying to change their family tree for the better. And I think it's easy to get jaded and unintentionally negative about our life. This can happen really easily when you live on an island as an entrepreneur, which happens to me. You know, it's funny. I make a lot of content. I put a lot of videos. I try to inspire you guys as often as I can. But it's pretty common for me to feel isolated myself. Thank God I'm in a weekly mastermind group with some amazing people, but even that's not enough sometimes. And what an impact it can have for you to get in the same room as a bunch of like-minded people on a regular basis. It just shakes you out of your slumber. It inspires you. And, you know, inspiration isn't going to change your life, but what it does is it leads you towards taking action. And what it does is it helps you borrow other people's confidence, because when your business is struggling, or it's not like you thought it would, or it's taking longer than you originally intended it to, you can get burned out. It's harder to see the big picture because the expectation you had maybe going into the business or just going into this year was different than the reality of it today. But I'll tell you what, there are so many people doing it. There are so many people making it. There are just droves of businesses that are succeeding, that are understanding perceived value, revamping their systems, they're becoming better leaders. They're actually deploying company culture, protocols, and ideas and systems and techniques. They're doing it. They're nervous, but they're doing it, and they're getting results. And the messages I get every single day, literally daily now, from people saying, you know, thank you for this podcast. Thank you for that podcast. I implemented this. I listened to Brandon on this podcast, and now, you know, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and things are working. And then you start getting momentum. And guess what the number one thing a small business owner needs and craves? And it's like air. It's momentum. It's momentum. If you want to radically shake up your momentum, or you don't have any right now, you need to change your environment. So day 4 of this event was wrapped up by Tony Robbins, you know, the super famous guy, Tony Robbins, like that one. He came here, and it was really cool. I've never seen him before. I had, if I'm honest, a little bit, a layer of skepticism, just because it's I don't know, I perceived him as some motivational guru guy, and it seemed cheesy. And I love Tony Robbins. I quote a lot of his quotes, and he has some really good business principles, like when you hear him on sound bites or he's interviewed on the TV or something. But when I see clips of his events, it's well, you know, I don't know, it just seems hypey. Well, I just totally got sucked into it, and it was amazing, and I'm jumping around all over the place, along with 3,000 other people. And it was amazing. It was amazing. And I just feel good right now. I came right back to my room. I'm recording this right afterwards. I have a new level of certainty, of hope, of what I'm doing. I learned so much stuff. And here's one of the things I want to share with you today, because I'm going to keep this podcast short, because I got some celebrating to do with some of my friends before I go back to Michigan tomorrow. And here's what I want to pass along to you. You selling your stuff, you growing your business, you being aggressive at growth, scaling, hiring, leading, all of those things, you doing those things is not just an option, it's your moral obligation. I know a lot of people struggle with the idea that selling is dirty, that the idea that selling is bad, but that is false. It's false. It's your moral obligation. If what you're doing actually helps other people, if it makes a ripple in your town, in the universe, in your employees' lives, if you're developing and shaping young men and women that work for you and look up to you, if your customers are served because you actually have integrity and you actually do the right thing when no one's looking and you actually over-deliver on what you sell, if you're that person, and I already know that you are that person if you listen to this podcast, if that's true, then you are hurting people by not scaling your business. You are unintentionally screwing over people that could benefit from your vision and your leadership. And I want you to wrap your head around that. It is your moral duty to sell more stuff. It's your moral duty to be profitable so that your company is healthy, so that you can provide opportunity for growth and for advancement of your team. Look, it's not all about you. And a lot of the people that have really small businesses, that's why they're small businesses. You have to focus on contribution. You have to focus on giving. Money is nothing but an exchange of value, right? Profit is the natural byproduct of you serving people. It's true. It's not hypey, guru, internet marketing stuff. This is truth. It's like gravity. 2 + 2 = 4. Selling is good. It's good. It's good. I want you to wrap your head around that, okay? So the next time you hesitate to walk into that realtor's office and network with people that could be a doorway to 100 new accounts for you or $100,000 in property management work for you, next time you hesitate to bid that job that you know you're going to underbid because you have fear, next time you're thinking about doing a transaction that's not profitable, or you're going slow on sales, or you're not doing enough door knocking or networking or selling or marketing, next time you're keeping your eye off the ball of sales and growth and developing the people in your company, I want you to remember that you are being very, very, very selfish. And you're not only hurting them, you're hurting yourself. I don't want you to be held back. And I know what it's like to have massive fear and self-limiting beliefs. My biggest hurdle for me personally is fear of failure. It always has been. Luckily for me, I tend to put myself in scenarios where I'm kind of stuck in a good way, where people rely on me, or I make a commitment to someone else, where the success that I promise doesn't just affect me, because it makes it easier for you to execute and go for it. For me personally, it's easier for me to work hard, kill myself, and die on my sword when other people are going to benefit, or if it's going to help me follow through on my word. I was talking to Brandon Vaughn this week, and we were talking several times. We use the phrase "calling your shot." I think it's important that you call your shot right now. I want you to publicly call your shot. What are you going to do this year? What number are you going to hit? Maybe it's not a revenue number. Maybe it's a profit number. Maybe it's a specific number of debt that you will pay off. No exceptions, no excuses. You will make it happen. You need to call your shot and put it out there. That's a way to put your back against the wall. It's a way to tell your team what you're going to do, tell your family what you're going to do, tell all of your friends in your network that you're going to do. And if you really want to go for it, put it on Facebook and then give monthly updates or weekly updates as you do it. You have to have the bridge on fire, or you're just going to fall back into old habits. Call your shot. Go for it. Don't just be a perpetual consumer of information like this, but be a doer. You need the information. Come download the podcast. Get pumped up. But then immediately when it's over, go do the stuff. You got to do the thing to get the thing. That's a funny inside joke for people that were at the Automate, Grow, Sell live experience last fall. Which brings me to my last announcement here. We've had a lot of people, I don't want to say begging, but very much pestering me saying, "Josh, we want to come back to the Castle House in Michigan. We want to come back and see you. We want to come back to the Automate, Grow, Sell live experience. Are you going to do it again?" And so here's a drum roll. Yes, we're going to do it again. And actually, it was so amazing. I pretty much knew we'd do it again. We just had a lot of logistics and we were really tired. But we are putting some plans together now, and looking at all the things that were amazing about it and how we can improve it. And you should be excited, because this is a very niche-y, very unique opportunity for you to get in a room, not just with me, but with a whole bunch of like-minded, hungry, small service companies that are going to win. They're going to get what they want. They're going to achieve their mountaintop, their goal. And what the live experience was, it wasn't an event in the traditional sense where you go and there's vendors and you walk around and there's some breakout sessions. It's nothing like that at all. It doesn't resemble that in the slightest. It's small groups of people helping you understand what it is that you want with a razor sharp clarity and an exact step-by-step plan that's reverse engineered for the next 6 to 12 months. We call that a sprint. We work in small mastermind groups during the entire event, literally building your plan. What do you do first? What do you do second? Why did you think this should be third when it really should be sixth, right? And we help, and we have mentors that have multi-million-dollar businesses walking you through the process to have perfect clarity for your company. It's a small event, and we actually invite you into our home, which was a very unique thing. I was nervous to do that, because it's kind of weird. It's like invite a bunch of internet people to come to our house, but it turned out to be amazing. And we had great food, and we're playing guitar in the driveway and having campfires, and people are networking with each other and encouraging each other. And there's relationships that were formed there that are going strong right now. And this was months ago. But most importantly, the reason we did this was because I was getting frustrated with people that were getting lots of information from me, but they had a small amount of transformation. Now, you're not going to change everything in your life in 5 seconds, but you need to have progress. You need to have these massive leaps, these chunks. You need to be knocking down these dominoes, and sometimes it doesn't happen. And the reason why is that information by itself oftentimes just leads to overwhelm. And you need the community, and you need the clarity if you're going to conquer. The theme for last year's Automate, Grow, Sell experience was community plus clarity equals conquer. It's amazing. We all got shirts made up because it's absolutely true. You got to have the community of like-minded people that can give you competent, qualified, actionable advice that is true. Because you have a lot of doubts on what's the next step. What do I do here? How do I understand my P&L? How do I break down the accounting or the cost of goods? How should I price my stuff? Where's the biggest hole in my business? You can't see it because you're in it. The Automate, Grow, Sell Live experience gives you perfect clarity on that thing. You will cry. It will change your life. And we're specifically targeting this year husbands and wives. This isn't just a businessy thing, although it's very intensive in that regard. And it's a lot of fun too. We have lots and lots of fun actually. But it's also about relationships, because it's common that the biggest bottleneck in a small business, other than the owner, is the spouse of the owner. You know how hard it is? And if this is your situation, you already know where I'm going with this. How can you be successful at a high level when the person most important in your life is an ankle around, or a weight around your ankle, right? And so it creates this dichotomy of, don't you know how hard I work for this family? And then you're never here. All you care about is your business and blah, 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 and all this miscommunication. Look, having a small business is really stressful, and it puts a lot of pressure on marriage and on family life and on finances and on all kinds of stuff. This little event that we'll do next fall, I'm not going to give you dates today. I don't even have a link for you today. I just want to plant the seed to get your wheels turning, because when we do release this, it'll go fast, like really, really fast. And it's transformational for your marriage, because we're going to help you guys discover what it is that you want to do as a family, as a couple, and then use your business as a vehicle to get you that thing. Not the thing that one of you wants, the thing that both of you want. We have you sign a business covenant document that you sign where you commit to your sprint and your why and your mountaintop. It's amazing. It's powerful. It was one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life, honestly, last year. So I'll get you guys more details soon. If you want me to put you on a waiting list or something, you can go ahead and send an email to my assistant. Her email is jessica@sendgym.com. That's Jessica, Jessica@sendgym.com. I think we're going to do 60 total spots over 2 different sessions, and you'll be invited into our house, the Castle House. We have a really unique, kind of interesting house. It's on 23 acres. It's like a castle if you've seen my YouTube videos. It's a really neat kind of property. And it'll be just so much fun, And what would it be like to sit down with people who are 10 steps ahead of you and have them reverse engineer and just fix your business? That's amazing. And not just that, but to get your spouse fully on board with exactly what you're doing it, because together you identify why you're doing it in the first place, which we often forget. Anyways, I hope that's an encouragement to you. I hope to meet some of you this year, meet some new faces. Every single person that came to the last year's one, except for one so far, said that they want to register for this one. So that's like a 99% show up rate. And the person that didn't want to, they had nothing to do with if they didn't like the event or not. It was something else. So you're going to want to email Jessica@sendgym.com. and just put AGSX, Automate, Grow, Sell experience in the subject line, and we'll save that, and we'll reach out to you before we release it to anybody else. We'll get you details. I love you guys. Take care. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Hey, thanks for hanging out, friends. And from all of us here at the Quick Talk Podcast team, we hope you loved today's show. We hope that you were inspired to become a doer and not just a listener. Apply what you've heard today in your own business and watch things change for the better. Lastly, remember that all the money in the world can't save your soul. Seek first the kingdom of God, my friends. We'll see you next time.
For more information about the Quick Talk Podcast or Joshua's other businesses, visit our website, quicktalkpodcast.com. Have a blessed day.
So anyway, implementation is what we do with when we try to do everything. When he was doing the t-shirts, he was forcing himself to live in the lowest possible way to make money that exists on the planet. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I mean, what did you think about that? Because he in summary, there's a ceiling of like maybe $80,000 a year in income for people that are implementers.
Which is true. I mean, in the 80,000 are the ones that, maybe like in the union trades, maybe you get the one or twos, they could make 6 figures.
Yeah, but they work 7 days a week or something.
Right, yeah. Lots of overtime. But yeah, that was the ceiling. But what I thought was cool was the other 3 levels. Was that you have this first level where you kind of cap out at 80K, but the second, I'll just read through all 4 levels. So there was, the bottom one was implementation that uses your muscles. The second level, which is 1 tier higher, which society views as a higher value. Because what he said
Nature
is, he said,
views it. This is like the natural order.
Right. Because what he said is that it's not that what those people are doing are not important, or because everything depends upon the muscles and the implementation.
They're all important.
Society depends upon that. Otherwise, it would not function.
Right.
However, it places a higher value. Nature places a higher value on the other levels. Which the number 2 level was unification, which is managers, people that can manage and prevent the implementers from killing each other.
Just like really, when you do the bus analogy, I view the driver of the bus as kind of like maybe your ops manager or your manager, telling the kids in the back to stop throwing spitballs and stuff. Like that's like semantics or whatever. But yeah, like if you're herding cats and running around and making sure people, follow protocol and you're managing, but that has a cap on it too, right? He said, if you're a manager at Taco Bell, you make like maybe $40,000. And if you're like a C-suite executive at Boeing or something, maybe you make $250,000, but that's kind of like it.
Right. And then the third level was communication, which is someone's natural gifted ability to be able to use their mouth to lead people and to identify, that kind of leadership. It's not a manager, but it is that communication ability. And he referenced actors and politicians and
I've heard him do a deeper teaching on this because he only had 26 minutes on stage, but he was talking about how one of the highest gifts on the planet. And this is a learned skill, by the way. So if you don't think you are this person, you can become this person. You might be more inclined to it naturally, but these are learned behaviors. You can ascend up through these 4 levels. But communication is the ability to use your mouth to make other people feel something, or make them see something that's not there yet, or make them believe something. If you do that, the sky is the limit. In fact, what does he have for the income limits for communicators?
It starts at about 100,000, but it can go up to 100 million.
100 million, and it's true.
Yeah, annual income.
Yep.
And then the top tier that he had, which starts at $1 million and goes up into the multi-billionaires, he classified as imagination. These are people that have harnessed the power of the mind and money as well. You know, they have the wealth to be able to invent the ideas and come up with these crazy schemes,
big
like
visions.
Walt Disney with Walt Disney World,
right?
And
huge visions,
this empire of things, and also have the capital to be able to.
But they can literally see it before it exists.
Yeah,
they see it. And he told this story about Walt Disney. No, Russell did. But Walt Disney on his deathbed, someone interviewed him and laid in the hospital bed with Walt because Walt was really sick. And Walt spent the whole interview explaining to him what Disney was going to look like this property. You know, they have all these different areas, the Animal Kingdom and the Universal Studios, and they have Hollywood. I don't know what all it is, but he saw it before it was done. And then the best part of that story was years later, when they had this grand opening on this amazing part of Walt Disney, one of the employees said, "Man, it's a shame Walt wasn't here to see this." And another one of the executives said, "No, you're wrong. He saw it. He's always saw it. He saw it a long time ago." But that's what I want to get to. I want to be that imagination level. I want to live there. And you have to use your brains and your money. And you know the Shark Tank guy, the mean guy, the bald guy is always mean to everybody?
Yeah.
He always says he wants to send his money out and it has to come home with friends. When he's going to invest, he's like, "I send my little dollars out and they walk around and then they come back with friends." That's what they do. But he's operating, whether you like him or not, has no bearing on any of the truth of this at that level. It's fascinating. But we're all running around cleaning carpets, mowing lawns, and trying to sharpen our blades ourselves for our lawnmower because we save $6 when we need to be ascending up to from implementer to manager, then to communicator, and then to Imagineer, right?
Right. Yeah, and I think that was the hardest rut for me to get out of, was down in that implementer stage. You have to force yourself out of it. You have to force yourself and take all these, because I think getting out of each one of those levels requires a massive leap of faith that you can do it, and it requires the vision to be able to look ahead and say, yeah, I will make this work. I have no option. I'm just going to make it work. And having that mindset, to me, is everything. And that's what he was kind of, that's the whole purpose of his thought.
That is why podcasts like this change people's lives. That's why the internet has changed people's lives. Imagine 30 years ago, everybody, you have this rough idea of you'd like to have this big business. You picture yourself as successful, but you don't know the path. And so when Brandon's saying it's a leap of faith, it's absolutely true, because you're stepping into the unknown. You haven't done it before. There's not life experience to kind of reassure you. But with the internet, with the free resources available, we're literally telling you what to do. We've both had a lot of success. We're at an event learning from people who are far beyond anything me and Brandon have accomplished, and they're telling you step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Now, you still have some risk and all that, but you have literal validation in a roadmap to do it. So if you choose to, you can pivot right now. You can pivot tomorrow morning. You can wake up and say, "I'm not making my own work shirts anymore. I'm not doing it." Yes, it makes me nervous. I don't want to waste the extra $6 a shirt, but I'm going to trust that these people that are teaching me this stuff are right. And you can start to ascend up. That's amazing. If you can't make it in business in America in 2018, how utterly screwed were you at any other time period in history?
Well, I don't know. So I'll play devil's advocate.
No, I was passionate.
I felt it.
Fake validate me.
I felt it. I'll play devil's advocate with this point. we live in an information age that is almost too much information, because you have so many different places where information is coming at you with differing opinions and different views and different suggestions and different philosophies, that I think that a lot of people, myself included, can suffer from analysis paralysis, where there's so many choices and so many paths and so many different people telling you what's the best way, that in the information age, now anyone can be an expert if they have a keyboard in front of them, because you don't know what their business is like behind the scenes.
That's true.
You don't know what, you don't know if they're showing you their highlight reel, they're showing you all the highlights, but they're not showing you that their profit and loss is, 3% net profit for the entire year, and they're in debt up to their eyeballs with regards to their company. And I think that's a really big challenge, that is a real problem that business owners face right now, is that there is no real clear path.
I call it the keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
And I also mentioned how the world is not suffering from a lack of opinion. I don't think we have information overload. My opinion is that we have opinion overload. The hard part is parsing out.
That's true. Yeah,
that's a mind bond, right?
That is, yeah.
But because I talked about this in a previous episode recently, but it's hard to parse out competent quality advice from an opinion, because it all kind of looks the same when you're looking at a list of different things. And the analogy I use is someone will go into a forum online and they'll ask a question: should I buy this piece of equipment? Should I hire the employee? Should I fill in the blank with a thing?
Right.
And it's like 500. And I said Facebook needs to have like a Carfax thing next to people's profile picture, next to a comment, where you can like click it and it's like,
are these guys verified?
No, you're good. Do this. This guy's got it. He's legit. But you don't know.
Dude, that's a genius idea.
I know.
There's two things that I just took from that sentence, because you dropped two huge value bombs. The first one was, we don't live in an information age, we live in an opinion
We don't have
age.
information overload, we have opinion overload.
Okay, I want to print that on a shirt. I have a machine to do that at home.
Do it yourself to save money.
Print that shirt out, let me tell you. And then the second part is just, we need to have a company that pre-vets people's experience and, not status. What's the word I'm looking for?
Competence for that.
Competence,
because you don't have to have some huge gajillion-dollar business to competently answer a question, but you do have to have already done that thing successfully. So if it's should I buy the equipment, and it's someone that hasn't even invested in it yet, they're still going to comment on your post because they want to be heard, but don't listen to them.
I think what drives a lot of people to do that, and this is probably a personality type thing again, what drives a lot of people to do that is that people will downplay others and will bash on others because it makes them feel good about the decisions that they've chosen in their life. Yeah. It strokes their own ego. There's no other purpose for bashing others and for talking down on what someone else's decisions are, except it just validates in their own head that I made a good choice. I made a good choice.
Yep. And I'll tell you, you guys will find this out, but if you want to change your life, and you start thinking positive, and you start making positive posts on Facebook, and you start naming your shot, saying, I'm going to double my business, I'm going to do this. You start living like that, what happens is, in a sea of 5'10" people, you become 5'11". And the crowd will try to pull you back down. And I've experienced it. You try to help, you try to serve, and what happens is you, without meaning to, you alienate the people who are in a rut and aren't willing to change, who have shame because they're not living anywhere near their potential. And so instead of themselves being convicted and changing and going for it and aligning themselves with these ideas, they want to try to disrupt your thing, right? If they can keep you at their level, then everything's okay. It doesn't expose their lack of growth. But that's changing, man. There's a movement happening in the service industry.
I agree.
There's so much, there's a lot of young people coming in. They're growing companies quickly. Some of the old schools of thought in terms of equipment or process or sales, all that stuff's changing. And there's a new generation of people coming up, man. They're doing stuff. And even the people you were at the Automate, Grow, Sell experience, these people are hungry. And it's not perfect, but they're hungry and they're doing it and they're taking risk and they're networking and they're forming mastermind groups and they're buying information. And in summary, I wanted to mention one more thing that I got from Funnel Hacking Live so far that I thought was huge. And the advice was this: get yourself one mentor. And it ties in perfectly to what Brandon was just saying. It's not that you might have three people that are competent and all three of them will give you a different answer. And it's not about finding the perfect answer. It's about laying a path for yourself and then walking down the path. And if you have one mentor, and this is really what I did with Russell, right? So I was like watching the Gary Vee video and watching this and watching internet marketing things, and I'm on email lists for these software companies. And I'm trying to piece together what's the path for me to take Send Jim to 10 million? How do I do this? I haven't done it before. It's noisy, right? It's noisy out there. And I just don't do that at all. All I've been doing for the last 6 months is doing what Russell says. Doesn't mean everything that he says will be perfect, but I'm going to be 50 steps further ahead because I have clarity and I'm executing on the clarity, right? Yeah.
Well, that's that Dr. Theodore Rubin. Yeah, he's quoted in this book that I read. It was called Overcoming Indecisiveness. And what it said, the failure of a decision has little or nothing to do with the actual choice that you make. The failure of the decision is directly proportional and traceable to lack of dedicated commitment. So when someone makes it, is vacillating between two decisions and then goes with one, but then doesn't commit to it.
Right, they're not sure because they're second guessing. They're scared of screwing it up, right?
Yeah, and so it just, oftentimes it doesn't really matter what you do. You just need to take the action and you got to commit to it, because oftentimes that's what's going to make it successful, is you committing to it. You can still pivot and make little changes and things to your plan, but if you're going to say, I'm going to test this out, go all in with the test. And if it doesn't work, no problem. Move on to the next thing. I mean, you and I, how many times have we failed at testing out things that we thought would be brilliant?
I personally haven't failed, but I understand what you're saying.
I was almost there.
No, constantly. That's the thing. And actually my personality type, my biggest weakness is extreme fear of failure, and it can paralyze you. And I've known that about myself for a long time. I am like way overthink stuff, believe it or not, right? Because I have to act really awesome on the show, so I can't ever appear weak in any way. But I do make decisions, and I make quick ones. And I learned a long time ago that the goal isn't to make a perfect decision, it's to make a decision at all. Make one. Try it out. Test it out. Make a decision tomorrow that you've been mulling over for a year, and just go with it. And like Brandon's point, you said a lot of fancy words when you were unpacking that, but
it was a quote. It wasn't not my fancy words.
No,
it's a quote
you're
of a doctor.
Trying to be cool. I get it. No, but I think your point oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. I don't know what I was going to say.
My point is that, if you have two decisions, it's like dieting, right? There's a variety of diets out there. They'll have the science, the validity, the testimonials to back up every single one of them. But it's not true. All diets work if you can commit to them. All of them do. If you can, but that is the problem.
My personal
favorite. It doesn't matter which one you choose. If you can't commit to it, you'll fail.
It's profound. It's simple. Most of the most powerful stuff is simple. It's that entrepreneurs especially have a unique ability to overcomplicate the most simple thing ever. But my favorite diet is the tapeworm diet. Have you heard of that?
The tapeworm diet.
You just eat a tapeworm and it does all the work. It's amazing.
It's true. It works too. It does. It does work.
Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed our random conversation. We're having so much fun, and all I want to do is add value to you, value to your life. I want you to get what you want. You don't have to have a business the size of Brandon's. You don't have to compare yourself to other people. In fact, you shouldn't. It's all a waste of time, and you won't be happy when you get there anyway if you do that. What I do want you to do is clearly define your why, your mountaintop, your outcome. I want you to achieve it. I want you to move towards it imperfectly, and I want you to get in community with us, whether it's in the Automate, Grow, Sell Bootcamp or you join the free Facebook group, the Growth Vault. Be around like-minded people. Start calling your shots and go for it, because we're here to support you. We're not going to tear anybody down, because you can do this. There are a lot of people significantly dumber than you listening to this who have already achieved 10 times more than what you've achieved so far. Wrap your head around that, right? It's because they're taking action and they're just imperfectly making decisions. I also want to invite all of you to make sure that you pop your email address in over at supermarketingcourse.com. I'm going to be doing a teaching webinar approximately a week from today. That's going to blow your mind. And I'm going to teach you, I'm not just going to show you what's in the super course, because that's important, because we're going to release that and launch it, and you're going to want that. But I'm going to teach you exactly why, and these are simple principles too, by the way, but why is it that some businesses do more revenue in a month than most people do in an entire year. What are those little differences? And there's some mental things, there's some financial things, there's some understanding of numbers things. I'm going to break it down, demystify it for you, and share that with you. But you do need to pop your email in there at supermarketingcourse.com. It's going to be amazing. Brandon, what do you think about the super course while I got you?
I think he's incredible. I mean, I think the coolest thing about it is you get the perspective of about, how many teachers do you have on there? 14 or 15?
15 or 16, yeah.
Yeah, so you have all these different perspectives, and every single one is kind of an expert in a little niche or have a really unique perspective, but it's all one huge overarching strategy that, for me, I wish you would have made this 6 years ago, because the principles, my mind is melting as far as how much information and value in there. It's tremendously, tremendously valuable. I mean, honestly, words don't describe it.
Well, it's like, imagine you're trying to build an airplane. That's kind of like starting a business. And imagine you don't have a blueprint to build an airplane. But I mean, you've seen a picture of it. You saw an airplane once. Like, you've seen a successful business. You know that they're real. It's possible to put metal together and have it float in the air, right? Like, technically it's possible. So then you just get to hammering and whacking away on these aluminum, and you're like, a rivet? What's a rivet? And so you're like, I think you do it like this. That's how we build our businesses.
And this is why you're going down the cliff.
Right. Exactly. Jump off the cliff and build the plane on the way down. Well, would it be helpful? Not perfect, because it's still hard to build an airplane, especially by yourself, because you're in the implementer stage. But I digress. It's hard, but it would be a lot easier if you had an actual blueprint from the Boeing Corporation saying, here's how you deconstruct and reverse engineer, and here are the steps to build an airplane, right? Am I making sense? Come on, people. And if you are getting free, massive, epic value out of this, can you give me a digital high five? Like, here, I'm gonna mock it. Ready? That's me high-fiving you right now, because we need to grow the audience by 10 times this year. And don't be an information hoarder that's greedy. We put these out every day. You need to share them with the people around you that need this information. That's you being generous, and the universe will reward you for your generosity. So share it, like it, give us an iTunes review. Please, please, please post a link to your favorite episode in a Facebook group. Tag people in it that need to hear it. Go on LinkedIn. Do something awesome. I will send you a cookie or something, or at least give you a digital high five. I appreciate your time, Brandon.
My pleasure.
I think we got to get back in here and get some more mind bombs going for ourselves. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Hey, listen, take care, everybody. God bless.
Hey, thanks for hanging out, friends. And from all of us here at the Quick Talk Podcast team, we hope you loved today's show. We hope that you were inspired to become a doer and not just a listener. Apply what you've heard today in your own business and watch things change for the better. Lastly, remember that all the money in the world can't save your soul. Seek first the kingdom of God, my friends. We'll see you next time.
For more information about the Quick Talk Podcast or Joshua's other businesses, visit our website, quicktalkpodcast.com. Have a blessed day.